GM friends, thanks for tuning in to DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. We have a partnership with centralized exchange Blowfin, and our ETH strategy enters beta testing on Astrobit soon. Join us in Discord to learn more. The link is in the description below. In today's community call, we will review charts for AI, AGIX, Render, NMR, WLD, Ocean, GRT, RLC, and we'll take a look at Nvidia for the AI narrative. For legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial, NASDAQ 100, US dollar index, US 10-year bonds. And with that, over to Eddie.
Yo, DM. I'm not really going to do too much time on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm mostly focusing on AI stuff because that's what was hot this last week. And it's been having cycles, like it comes and goes. So it's definitely a sector to pay attention to. And honestly, the Bitcoin is really simple. I'm just basically looking at any major wick or sweep and reclaim on any of them to get going bullish with still the main plan, where if we get all the way down here, probably just right here, this was my line in the sand from last week. I don't want this level to start getting closes below. That would make things more bearish for me, depending on reaction lower. Yep, and here's the lines pulling up. So same idea, right? We could just add one here. Just any lows, sweeps and reclaims of them is your signal to get long. So we're just in this region because that low is like right into that. Same with Ethereum, same thing here. Any major like sweep and reclaim is basically all we're looking for. I'm not trying to predict when the dip's gonna end. If I were to put money on it, it'd be somewhere around here though. This is the same line in the sand with Ethereum as Bitcoin is I don't want it to be lower than this section right here. But any sweeps into these levels, I'm looking to get more exposure in. So I wanted to look at Nvidia really quickly because that's like the stock market main AI indicator, and crypto is following it. Obviously, pretty big sell-off. We saw AI coins start to sell off and then the entire market follow, because the market typically tends to do what the leaders are doing, and the leaders of the last couple of weeks were all these AI tickers, and they're all selling off besides RLC. But same idea, we're into this like 12-hour level here. So if it can start putting in some bullish price action, then I think that's a good dip on it. We have some pretty obvious lows that I'm watching to get swept right there. It could even just start coming right here though, because it's in a nice area, this whole like little bullish order block thing. So it doesn't have to take out this low. We'll see. I'm just watching to see where it's going to level out. If I get a sweep and a reclaim, then pretty good to keep going. Easy stuff. AI, I know Space Cowboy mentioned it first, and then we all started trading it, and everybody in the server that was following got lots of shekels trading AI. And if you're not in there, you're missing out. So I started bidding it right here as we got into this little zone. Actually, I think I started right here. So I'm just looking for it to be a higher low happening. We have some pretty good levels to work with in this region too. Former all-time high, deviation below it. Hopefully it can keep it as support this time. If it taps any lows and reclaims, I'll just add to position, because I think that we're going to keep going higher, especially with these sectors. I've already started buying back into it, and I'll just add more as we get lower. Hopefully we don't see anything like this where it just gets super bearish. I don't think that'll happen though. I'm basically team bull until proven otherwise on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I've been for a while. Besides the ETF short, right? XAI, I have no idea what this is. It just has the word AI in it and X. I don't know, it's a pump. That's literally the thesis. But from a technical perspective, it looks great too. Retesting former all-time high currently. Even go here with these closes. Just watching it for just to put any bullish structure in. Maybe if it can come down and give us a really clean setup by like sweeping and reclaiming it, that'll be ideal. I don't really know where it's gonna stop, but I like this level. I'm willing to keep an eye on it for now. Anything around here. If it dips below it, like there's just, I don't know, I'm just looking for reasons to be bullish, right? Instead of looking for, oh, I should short this and get all these liquidity, I'm just gonna look for potential support regions. So I think we're in a pretty big one here with XAI. Watching it for now though, it hasn't given me anything. AGIX, just another AI ticker. So basically got two lines in the sand here, former all-time high resistance, flipping it into support. The new high that we're targeting almost came to it. If I can sweep that low and reclaim, I'm getting in. Otherwise, I'll just wait for it to flip 59. Looks kind of ugly. It might come down here and give us those sweeps. Things have been like pulling back really shallow, which is why I'm not looking for deep pullbacks on anything. Just some shallow stuff and a reason to get going because it sweeps and reclaims with some closes, right? For right now, it's just chopping around. Oh, and that's another thing too with all of these as well. If it just chops around, I'm going to assume that's bullish continuation or bullish consolidation, and I'll just look to buy the range low of it with the ultimate confirmation of it flipping or a sweep. So that's basically my 3 triggers for everything right now is a sweep and reclaim. If it just consolidates, I'll buy the lows, or if it makes a new range higher because it flipped the high that I'm watching, we'll just long it into price discovery. Pretty easy stuff. Every single one of these, you can tell they're just so incredibly bullish, right? You just want to buy the dips, especially if you have like friends or whatever who panic. Usually when they panic, it's a pretty good sign that it's almost over. This had such a huge run. I think if it can get down to this 4.9 candle, that would look nice though. Somewhere into here, lines up with these highs over here too. That's where I'll look. The same idea, if it just sweeps some of these, if it just sweeps some highs and reclaims it, then that's your other signal, right? But this one has a pretty solid dip buying area. Even lines up with the fibs too, this spot being below the 50. So really I would just look to buy any of this section in this big green candle. This is like a FVG. This whole area would be fine. Just look for bullish price action down there. Ocean, got the same idea here basically too. Some obvious lows that can get ran. It's right into this big, huge daily like fair value gap. So I think, which also lines up with this range high too. So there's lots of levels of confluence in this whole region. Yeah, I can get a sweep and reclaim, or if you just start getting closer to the blue line, filling this in, you could even take a fib and just only buy the 50% or lower of it. Basically any retracements down into this, I think are good to go. And I imagine they're going to keep going up once Nvidia finds a bottom, which it's going to. Congress is betting on it, so Congress isn't going to lose that bet. PRT is another one. They'll look the same. And it's literally the same idea. I think if you guys have watched my streams enough, you'll see that I just do the same thing over and over again. Trading's actually really boring once your system, because it's literally the same shit, right? Former resistance, I'm going to buy it when it comes and retests it. Here's a sweep level I'm going to look for, right? Same thing. And we're just aiming for new highs on all this stuff. These are the coins that you want to focus on, the ones that are like going up. Like, I don't know what's not going up because I don't pay attention to it, but don't pay attention to those either. If you're like in something from 2 cycles ago that just isn't moving, you need to rethink your thesis on that. This one probably needs a little bit more price action for us to really get a good plan on, because it's up only today and the whole market's red. So I think you need to watch this high. If it closes below, you'll get a pretty good retracement, right? And then same idea, like it's got this double bottom right here. So if that sweeps and reclaims it, you're good to go. Otherwise, you got all these former highs that it's going to come in and possibly retest, matched up with all these lows too. Same idea, just look for sweeps and reclaims to get going, because that's your invalidation, right? And that's your entry. This one doesn't really give me a whole lot right now just because it's pumping currently, but that's what I'll be looking for, to take out this. If it closes below that, it'll probably take this out and just trade into this. This is like another FEG right here. So there's a chance that holds. Basically just anything that looks like it could be bullish support. Oh my gosh, look, all my other lines pull up. So originally I was waiting for this level to tag to get really heavy on, but it never came. And I think it'll probably front run it, honestly. Like I imagine this level is the support when it finally does come down. So that's what I'm looking at with RLC. And then I think that's basically everything I wanted to cover. Main idea is be a bull until proven otherwise. Keep an eye on Nvidia. Wherever it finds support, all the AI tickers will probably find support too. That's the thesis I'm taking into this next week. All right, I'm all done.
Thanks, Eddie. And now we are on to the legacy markets with John.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to do the legacy market. The S&P is selling off today. A couple reasons for that. And the economy is showing signs of slippage, I would call that. And this morning, the U.S. leading indicators came out at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we held in there until that happened, and you can see we're dropping a little bit. So today we're having a down day, which is fine. It's what it is because of the economic situation that people are trying to figure out what's going to go on with interest rates. But today, what I really want to focus, if you look back here, okay, this was last Tuesday, and I talked about this gap that we had on Tuesday's open. So that gap, as I always say, gaps get filled in. It got filled in last week Wednesday, had an up day last week Thursday, had an up day that totally filled in this gap right here. So we knew it's going to happen. Plus, the other thing that confirmed that was this 5,000 level. It's going to retrace back up because everybody wants to get back up above 5,000. And then today we're dropped below it. So again, this gap is only a 6-point gap that was created at the open this morning. When I do talk about gaps, it's basically the low of the day and then the high of the day the next day. So like today's high and last Friday's low creates the gap. So you can see the gap here that I had. Basically, it'd be that Monday, last week Monday's low to last week Tuesday's high. That is the gap. It's not the open or close. It's the low of the day or the high of the day on that. So I just want to be clear on that on a technical basis. So today we have basically leading indicators that have been down 22 months in a row. And so nobody really wants to see the ugly economic conditions we really are getting into and have gotten into, because everybody's focused on election. Look at election, look at what's going on in the world, but don't look at the economy. That's basically the thesis out there with the media and also the politics that are going on for this election year coming up. Moving to the Dow Jones 30 now, you can see that there was no gap on this one. Okay, so that's interesting. But what it did last week was tag the standard deviation line right here. And then it also, next day, was floating around the standard deviation line, which was last week Wednesday. And then today, it looks like we're going to start to get back down to that line. Here, the upper bands are basically going sideways, but the lower bands are moving upwards, okay? It's not a complete sideways action yet, but it looks like it's starting to form that. Then last but not least, moving on to the U.S. 10-year yield. Really looked at this, you can see that this 4.18% level is a good level. Okay, this is basically a resistance and support level. It used to be resistance back here, all the way back here in January 24th, January 25th, dropped back down to the 2x lower band, okay, and then it's popped back up, and we knew, or I knew, and we, because you guys know this as well on TA, is that when it was below 4%, there's no way it's going to stay below 4%. We just know it with inflation and economic conditions, and sure enough, it went above that 4%. So I don't see it tagging back down below that 4% again. It might get back down to 4.00, 4% even again, but I don't think it's going to get below 4, not for a while, okay? So those are the charts that I like to go over. I'm pretty much done. I'll turn it over to you, Pepe, and have a good week.
Yes, sir. Eddie mentioned that Nvidia earnings is probably a big reason why people are profit-taking the stock. So that should correlate with the AI coins we were talking about earlier today. And that's it for this week. Remember, Astrobit 2.0 is live, and our ETH strategy is entering beta testing with Astrobit when they fix the back-end dashboard for strategists. You can use our affiliate link for Belowfin and get a futures bonus at the end of the campaign. Their proof of reserves are verifiable on Nansen, so you can ensure funds are SAFU. GN friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFi-Logic.com.